In the summer of 2021, a freelance photographer named Jason Miller accepted a job that seemed almost too easy. An old property owner outside a small town in Oregon wanted aerial and interior photos of a large abandoned house before putting the land up for sale. The pay was good, the work sounded simple, and Jason had done hundreds of similar jobs before. The house sat nearly 30 minutes from the nearest road. No neighbors, no stores, nothing around except trees. The owner had warned him that the place had been empty for years. According to him, the previous family moved out suddenly and never returned. Jason asked why. The owner simply said, "Personal reasons." He didn't explain further. Jason arrived around 5 p.m. The first thing he noticed was the silence. Not normal silence. Not peaceful silence. The kind that feels wrong. Jason looked down. The headline read, "Family of 4 missing after house fire." Date, October 1996. Jason felt cold. Very cold. According to reports, firefighters arrived after neighbors saw smoke. No birds, no insects, no wind, just complete stillness. The house itself looked older than he expected. 2 stories, faded paint, broken windows, large front porch. From a distance it looked abandoned. Close, it looked forgotten, like something people had intentionally avoided. Jason parked his truck and began unloading equipment. Drone, camera bags, tripod, lighting gear, normal routine, nothing unusual. First, he photographed the exterior for nearly an hour. Everything went smoothly. Then he entered the house. Inside, dust covered everything. Furniture still remained in several rooms. Books sat on shelves. Family photos hung on walls. Plates were still sitting on the dining table. It looked less like a house someone abandoned, and more like a place someone left in the middle of an ordinary day. Jason continued taking pictures. Kitchen, living room, hallways, stairs, bedrooms, nothing strange, until he reviewed the photos. In one image from the upstairs hallway, something looked wrong. At the far end of the hall, there was a figure, standing partially behind a doorway. Jason frowned. He was certain nobody else was there. He zoomed in. The image quality wasn't clear enough to identify details. Just a shape, tall, human, watching. Jason immediately walked upstairs. He checked every room, closets, bathrooms, empty, nothing. He convinced himself it was lighting distortion. Old houses create strange shadows. He returned downstairs, finished the remaining photographs, and left before sunset. On the drive home, he forgot about it. Until later that night, around 11:47 p.m., his phone vibrated. New upload completed. Jason looked confused. Upload? He hadn't uploaded anything. Opening the notification, he saw something strange. One new folder had appeared in his cloud storage account. No title, no date, just new files. 37. Jason opened it. Inside were photographs, dozens of them. Photos from inside the abandoned house. Except, Jason hadn't taken them. Not these. The angles were wrong. Different perspectives. Some looked like they had been taken from corners near the ceiling. Others appeared shot through cracked doors. Behind furniture. Inside rooms Jason never entered. His confusion quickly became concern. Then he noticed timestamps. 11:32 p.m., 11:35 p.m., 11:41 p.m. The pictures had been taken after he left. He checked the first image. Empty living room. Second image. Kitchen. Third image. Staircase. Fourth image. Jason froze, because standing near the staircase was him. Not a photograph of him arriving earlier. Not outside. Inside. Jason standing in the hallway, looking away from the camera. Jason stared at the screen. No, impossible. He remembered exactly where he had been at 11:41 p.m. Driving home, nearly 40 miles away. Yet there he was, inside the house. The next image appeared seconds later. Same hallway, same angle, except now Jason looked closer. One step closer. The next photo. Closer. The next. Closer. Each image moved him forward. Walking slowly. Toward the camera. Jason's chest tightened. He opened another picture. Then another. Then another. Until he reached the final image. And immediately dropped his phone. Because now Jason stood directly in front of the camera. Face visible. Eyes staring forward. But something wasn't right. His expression. His face looked wrong. Not distorted. Not damaged. Just empty. Like someone pretending to be him. Smiling incorrectly. Jason sat frozen for several minutes. Eventually he convinced himself someone hacked his account. Some kind of elaborate prank. There had to be an explanation. The next morning he contacted the property owner. No answer. He called again. Nothing. Again. Voicemail. By afternoon Jason became angry. He drove back to the property. He wanted answers. But when he reached the road leading into the woods, he stopped. Because the house wasn't there. Not damaged. Not hidden. Gone. Completely gone. Jason got out of the truck. Checked the address. Checked GPS. Same location. Same road. But where the house should have stood, there was only an empty clearing. Grass. Trees. Nothing else. No driveway. No foundation. No debris. Nothing. Jason thought he was losing his mind. He searched nearby for nearly an hour. Finally, he found an older gas station several miles away and asked if anyone knew about the property. The employee looked confused. Jason described the house. Large porch. 2 stories. Deep woods. Old owner. The man stared for several seconds. Then asked, "You mean the Holloway place?" Jason nodded immediately. The employee's expression changed. Slowly he said, "That house burned down in 1996. Jason laughed. Actually laughed. Because he expected a joke. But the employee wasn't smiling. Jason explained he had literally stood inside the house yesterday. Taken photographs. Spent hours there. Silence. Then the employee walked into a back room. Several moments later he returned holding a newspaper clipping. Most of the structure had collapsed. But investigators found something strange. No bodies. No evidence anyone escaped. Nothing. The entire family simply disappeared. Jason stared at one photograph attached to the article. A family portrait. Mother. Father. 2 children. Standing on the porch. Smiling. Then his blood turned to ice. Because he recognized them. The family photos inside the house. The pictures hanging on the walls. The faces. Same people. Same house. Jason immediately returned home. Locked every door. Closed every window. And told himself he was done. No more questions. No more investigation. Forget everything. For several days things felt normal again. Until 4 nights later. At exactly 11:41 p.m., his phone vibrated. One notification. Cloud upload completed. Jason stared. Slowly opened the folder. One new image. Only one. Hands shaking, he opened it. At first he didn't understand what he was looking at. Dark room. Desk. Computer screen. Then realization hit. It was his apartment. His room. Taken from the corner near the ceiling. Jason looked closer. There, sitting at the desk, was him, facing away. And at the bottom of the image was a timestamp. 11:41 p.m. Present time. Current time. Jason slowly turned around. Toward the corner behind him. Nothing. Empty. Jason breathed again. Nervous laugh. He looked back toward the phone. And noticed something he missed. The image had updated. Changed. Now there were 2 photographs. Not 1. 2. Second image. Same room. Same angle. Except now, standing directly behind his chair, was a person. Tall. Watching him. Smiling. And Jason realized something terrible. It was the same figure from the hallway. The one standing in the house. Only now, it wasn't inside the photograph anymore. Because behind him, he heard footsteps. Slow. Heavy. Getting closer.